would be sitting. It still gives me plenty of legroom. That's the big difference to the predecessor generation. I could hardly sit in the predecessor generation legroom wise. That's the 13 plus centimeters we also have in length, so definitely a big improvement. However, you see that the seat itself is pretty thick, so it's not the car with the best package. But if you consider the Volvo V90, for example, I don't see the V90 having much more legroom than this one here, for example. There's still a big tunnel because we also have all-wheel drive system, so in the middle part you don't sit too well. You have seat heating also for the outside of the two seats. Well, here on the inside, still working somehow also headroom-wise, even though we have the panoramic roof. We still have a lot of headroom left, also in the rear, even more in the side seats. For shorter terms, it's quite okay. And in general, for middle seating of a car, it's still quite reasonable also if you compare it just with your feet with the middle tunnel. Here again, even more headroom on the inside actually. On the outside with the panoramic roof, then it's getting close. So for the outside rear seats, you should probably leave out the panoramic roof if you have tall passengers in the rear. Then we also have this middle console in the rear with cup holders for the kids in some more storage area. And on the back part, you can also open this ski hatch to load things through. Flipping the seats from the trunk is one possibility. This is a manual possibility. Do it right from here. Top tether on the back part as well. Isofix on the outside parts from the front part. Again, loading things through easily. Great quality here also. And wow, it's just a little bit heavy to put them up again, and the reason is that they want to have them fall down easily from the rear just when you press the button. So that's the downside of that. And another color, I always love to show you that, and this is also the Momentum trim level with 19-inch optional exhaust though, but you can see, for example, in the front there's a difference with the front grille. You have still the vertical fins, but they are not chrome polished like with the Inscription. It still looks quite elegant, I think, also with the contrast in the lower bumper there. And this is also then for the Momentum trim level from standard equipment. The headlights, you can see them right there. By the way, here, you see this design here on the front hood? That's pretty powerful stuff, so great design job they did there too. And soon I'm sure also the interior on this car, and that proves the point that you can easily go also with a lower trim level. Let's look out for that. Different engines, of course, available, soon more to that. But first of all, a look in the trunk right here, because this one is done with dark fabric. Well, you can't see so much on camera, but if you don't fancy the bright interior for the back trunk, then that's it. And here we can also open the lower part, optional also with a replacement tire. There we go. And also interesting, you can also press a button here at the inside. There it was for the tow bar. There we go. And it's fixed, and when I press the button again, there it is, it's loose, and I can flip it back in. Also a very nice solution for sure. The car also has, the flipping seats function. I can show you it once more, because it's really nice. There we go. Again with a 1/3, 2/3 split. So guys, this is pure Scandinavian style, like furniture design here in the Momentum trim. The base trim is rather, more black fabric and stuff. You can get that too. But if you want a little bit more fancy, you can go for this one. So you have the matte aluminum style, for example, also as decor elements. You can go for that one. Looks a little bit more sporty and modern, but you can also go for the wood trim. And then, wow, this is really sofa lounge-like. Those covers are called City Weave, and they also have been available for the V40. I think seen it before. Now with the V62, and this in fabric on the inside and leatherette on the outside, so no animals harm for this one, and it's a great quality. So if you then compare it to the animal-based leather, you hardly see any difference. So this is a good example of how I can do things better. So, and also comfort-wise, those seats here are really superb, and I'm really thinking about seeing this, sitting here, with the new design, this Scandinavian simplicity and this, lounge furniture. So if you ask, you always ask me, what's your favorite car in the segment? And if I think about now, A4, C-Class and BMW 3 Series, they're all great cars. And especially, you know, the driving dynamics, and so I expect to be better, you know, for example, with BMW than with this one. However, we soon to test drive this one, of course, so I can't say anything about that yet. But from the interior styling and the comfort here, I really get the impression that this one will be my new favorite mid-size estate, or then later in 2018, than the S60, the sedan. So I'm really impressed, and, you know, again, because this was a good price-performance deal. The City Weave, as far as I checked the price list from, for example, the XC40, the new one, are also an option then for the base trim, but they're not that expensive actually, so you can still go either for a rather subtle trim, the base trim, keep it rather one color, because for some it might be, you know, too much a little bit. Some say that's, you know, a little bit too extraordinary. But if you want it a little bit more spiced up, and then also with you know, the fabric you keep warm in winter and also cold in summer times, I think the car as it stands here right now, maybe when with the blue exterior, to me the perfect combination. So, and also the rear seats have the same design, and I just want to keep sitting here. You know, I'm walking a lot of the motor show, it's really stressful, and I can really relax when I'm just sitting here. But of course I want to show you how the rear legroom differs then, because the seat form was a little bit different, but they seem the same from the rear, and yes, indeed. So it's the same here from the rear also. Also quite comfortable seating position here in the rear again. And what else? This car has a little bit more power here now, it seems. Not only 12-volt power supply in the lower part, which has this illumination. USB ports would be good there, for sure. On the top part here, you can also have a seat heating for the outer seats, and also a separate vent control. So Volvo all about 2-liter 4-cylinder engines. Diesel, there's a D3 with 150 horsepower, or this one here, the D4, with 190 horsepower, and both are either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive optional. And then there's also a T5 petrol engine with 250 horsepower, starting with front-wheel drive. And then there are also top petrol and hybrid engines. Let's move on over to the hybrid car to explain you more about those. So there's the T6 with 310 horsepower, but also the T6 twin engine. That one is then the hybrid, then you get 340 horsepower, and you charge the car electrically here in the very front. And as a top model, there's also the T8 twin engine, then with 390 horsepower. And this is the cutaway model of the hybrid drivetrain. First of all, everything you see in orange here belongs to the electric part. And especially in the middle, it will soon become very interesting, I can promise you. And it also reveals how the all-wheel drive system is working. Let's start in the front in detail. So what you can see in blue is in dark blue right here. This is the electric motor. There's one in the front and one in the rear. This one is the one in the front. This is supporting the front drivetrain. So when you have a normal all-wheel drive, petrol or diesel, then it's basically front-wheel drive plus rear-wheel drive. No, we are a clutch in the middle. But here, front and rear axle are disconnected, basically. So there one electric motor supports the front wheel, which is mainly driven by the combustion engine. This one here is, you know, to change the electricity, the transformators. Then in the middle part, the biggest one, this is the battery. And this is actually the part where you just have the middle tunnel, you know, for transferring the front power to the rear as well. And when you don't have that, then there's a gap actually. And then they thought, okay, let's put the battery in this gap. So the middle tunnel remains, as we see in the interior. But you can hide the battery right there and don't lose, for example, don't lose trunk space height. Now if we then go to the rear, this is where the main electric motor sits, because the rear axle is just powered by the rear by this rear electric motor. This is here for the charging infrastructure, so it goes all the way from the front to here. This one is basically the charging module, and this one is again the part we've seen in the front, the transformator, which is then, you know, delivering the right proper energy for the electric motor. Pretty interesting to see that here in the cutaway model. And that again means there's no connection front and rear wheels. It's just electronically decided actually how much torque is getting where. And then you might think, okay, when the battery is depleted, what happens then? then the normal combustion engine is always loading up again the battery in a way that is enough power to have the rear wheels. Why are they doing that? Well, maybe if you're stuck in an off-road situation where you really need the rear wheels because you otherwise won't get out of the mud, then you still have the all-wheel drive, although when the battery is depleted. That's not, of course, not really efficient. More efficient is to charge the plug-in hybrid. There are some statistics that a lot of people do not do that at all. But maybe when the charging infrastructure is rising at work and or at home, then you maybe also have more chance to charge this plug-in hybrid. The realistic driving figure, I mean, we couldn't test it yet for the all-electric drive. Not all electric, plug-in electric drive for this engine. Well, it will be about 30 kilometers an hour. That's my estimation for the realistic driving. Otherwise, it's supporting the engine to keep the rest of the consumption low. But of course, it really makes just sense when you are really charging it. Now to the conclusion. The Volvo V60 is for sure not a super revolution, but it has been finely tuned in every sense. So a sharper exterior, definitely. Was also time for renewal, new platform that offers you more versatility. It is not, again, not this boxy old Volvos with super much luggage space, but we've shown you it has actually enough versatility, also with flipping the seats and stuff. Now, as the car has become significantly longer, yeah, to one extent it gets a little bit, bigger just when driving in the city and stuff. But then again, you have way more legroom, especially for the rear passengers. That's the main difference now. Also, the interior has been tweaked, so we have a lot of great design style elements. We've seen also that in the lower trim levels you can make it super beautiful. And I think that's also a super unique selling point. So many premium manufacturers offer then or show us on the driving ends the super top trim levels and super expensive, double the entry price and so on. But the real key is to make the lower and middle trim levels that attractive that you say, I'm driving a special car, although I did not pay double the price of the entry price. And I think that will very well work here, as we've shown you with the Momentum car with the City Weave interior. And I'm really a fan of it. So one of my favorite cars here from the Geneva Motor Show. Really well done. Also with alternative drivetrains. The engines themselves from Volvo, the normal combustion engines, are usually really high fuel consuming. You have to keep that in mind. Therefore, the plug-in hybrid can already make sense. Of course, if you really have the chance to charge it quite often. And now, what about your feedback? I'm always looking forward to your comments. What do you think about the new V60? Then later this year, we'll also present you the S60, the sedan, which will basically be the same, just with a different roofline, less luggage space. And of course, soon we will drive this one, and then you will also tune into Autogefühl. The Honda CR-V is one of the most successful SUVs worldwide. Alone in the US, just in 1 year, almost 400,000 pieces. That's really massive. And here's the new generation. Has been out in the US in 2017. In 2018 also comes to European markets. We'll make a roundup about the all-new Honda CR-V exterior, interior, and what else is there under the hood, features, technology. We take a look. Let's go. The new CR-V is the same platform than the new Civic, by the way, and you can see in the front is a more harmonic design. First of all, in the predecessor it was basically split in two elements. Here, this round shape, a friendly face, and again one unit now with headlights and front grille. And the front grille has this active shutter technology, so when not so much cooling is needed, the shutters are closed and therefore improving then the wind efficiency. In the lower part you still have this crossover look with a rather rugged plastic fender. And the car is a little bit wider than before. 4 meters 58 or 15 foot is the total length. It's 6 centimeters longer than the predecessor version. Also the wheelbase has been made longer a little bit. We'll check out how that has an effect on the interior. Here then also with massive 18-inch wheels in the two-color scheme. Looks pretty much technology oriented, so also a special highlight for this vehicle. Of course, all optional. Standard one comes with smaller ones. Then this rugged look here again at the wheel arches. The side profile is dominated by the dropping line. You see a light and shadow at the height of the door handles. And this very characteristic rear angle of the CR-V has been remained a little bit. The shoulders are a little bit wider here, and it looks somehow more elegant also in the side profile. You can see that the taillights are already beginning right here, and they have been changed even more. We'll take a look at that. Now this part has really changed. The taillights now a little bit Volvo-alike, aren't they? You know, with the vertical here and then the horizontal. Overall, it looks more chromish, definitely. So this is really different from the predecessor model. By the way, also the ground clearance is a little bit higher. So plus 4 centimeters, now at 20 centimeters. So for soft off-roading, that's also now more suitable. And there's a little wider track. So you see the whole car is also a little bit wider. You can see that from the rear. And let's take a look at the hatch. So non-electric here with struts. Well, wow, that looks pretty amazing. So pretty square dimensions. Here also with a replacement tire. And then there's this top cover. That is a little bit wobbly, so there's no rail on either side. But considering that, it's still quite nice. And then let's see, we can also flip the seats with those right in here, with those levers. And yeah, that works. And maybe this one needs a little push. There we are. But the front seat is too much in the front right now. But you can see here you can load things through. So pretty versatile in the use. And I suppose there's also possible to put this one here higher. Yeah, there we go. So you can put this one a little bit higher, and then you have an even loading through surface. That's very well done. Also quality-wise, it has been improved massively. And here, also in the white color, how you like that one? We're here with privacy glass. Looks like, of course, a little bit more spectacular. That won't be happening in real life with this black screen. And this is also the hybrid prototype with a new mild hybrid engine. It's pretty interesting to drive that one too at a later stage. Also see the hybrid logo right there. So what do you think? Which engine will you go for, and also which color would you choose? Let's check the interior in the front. So what do we have here? Looks quite nice. Soft materials at the inside of the doors, should be leatherette. And then it really looks like it's not matte wood, but you know, somehow even out, but it looks real actually. I think it's real wood. Also a nice accentuation, really some premium feeling. Well, those high glossy black, I don't fancy that much. You see it collects a lot of fingerprints there. Not too much space at the inside of the doors here. Shouldn't fit for two big bottles. Then at the inside, of course, base, you can also get fabric seats. I guess in US also leatherette. This one I think is the full animal skin spec. But the interior itself, you see there are completely new seats. Push them a little bit backwards, soon finding my seating position. The steering wheel, we know that basically from the Civic, also with those transparent buttons here, left and right, for example, for cruise control on the right. And then you can see there's a digital screen here now. So you have, at the maximum setup, a 7-inch screen left. You can see here in digital speed. And also a 7-inch screen on the right. So this one would be in the top trim. So infotainment-wise, a big upgrade. And the shifting lever you can see below that has been integrated like a van, like you know, so from the vans, for example, basically integrated in the middle console. Here in this case, the automatic gearbox. But I mean, why not? You can easily access it by this way. Then let's get inside and see how the seat can be controlled and steering wheel and stuff. This one here to manually pump it up. So maybe, you know, just a little bit to sit a little bit more straight. Electric then for the lumbar support. Then the steering rack right there. So it can be also controlled in the reach. So you can find a good position here. And well, the first impression is that it's actually quite comfortable to sit in. You know, you have this typical high seating position, as you know, from the SUV. And here the back part can also be controlled manually. And it feels actually quite grown up, the CR-V. Before that, it was also, let's say, a good standard SUV with a good price-performance ratio. They also intend to keep it that way, so not everyone will buy it in the highest trim level. I think that's also pretty much fine. So it gives you a nice high standard seating position, so that you get a feeling you don't need anything that is basically bigger. So that's really interesting. So this would be the way that I would be seating right here. By the way, here also a big mirror with a light too. So for some that's very important that we have the light right there. The visibility to the front is a little bit limited. It's not too big, the front screen. That is due to the design, and also the front hood is pretty bulky. Here on the top, by the way, we have let's say it's not real hard plastic. It's some leatherette cover. So overall, they have improved also the build quality. What I'm questioning a little bit, well, you have this horizontal stress in the cockpit. You will soon see that also from the rear. But then again, you have a lot of different design elements here. Maybe that's a little bit too much, a little bit too disturbing. So it's not really a simplistic design. Now the interior overview from this perspective. There you can see the new horizontal stress of this cockpit and also the integration of the screen. The infotainment system was so far the weakness of a lot of Hondas. You can see here it could react a little bit faster, but visually it is way more attractive than before. That's important. You can also connect the phone via Bluetooth. That's a standard function for sure. Let's get to the home menu. What else we can see? It's also the smartphone connectivity. That one then will be enabling you to connect also, Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Again, the nice use of the wood here. I think that's my favorite trim also for the vehicle. The climate unit is still separately, so you can easily control it while driving. Econ, there will be a button to reduce the throttle input then. And here again, the automatic shifting lever, you can easily press down. Sport mode will turn up the RPMs a little bit more. Electric handbrake. Then we also have a seat heating available. And in the lower middle console, we have a 12-volt power supply. And beverage holders, they are adaptive. Very easy to reach, actually. Seems quite ergonomic to me. And wow, how much room do we have right here? Another 12-volt power supply. USB 2, so to connect with your phone, and HDMI. And again, so much space in this vehicle. It's this vehicle is not screaming out. It's in some ways really simple, but then again, really versatile and practical, especially for families. And so for your glasses, you can put them right here. And hey, that's an additional mirror. I think there you can see Michelle. Maybe you can see your children in the rear, for example. I'm not sure, but because there it is. So this is maybe you don't have to lean back all the way. Then hey, what you guys are doing? Stop that! You just have to watch here. Then just like slide in and look there. And stop that! Don't do that. Now to the rear, by the way, door closing sound. Could be a little bit better, couldn't it? But what's really great? Wow, that's really 90 degrees opening. And also, some nice visual elements here. Soft touch also right there. Really great from the quality. And how easy is that to attach child seats, Isofix on the outside seats, for example. So easy to access this vehicle here. That's really great. So well done, Honda. Then let's get inside. And how do I sit here in the rear? Wow, that's amazing. That's really such a good package and will be so important for the customers of this vehicle. Also in the headroom. I'm on with 86 or 6'1". That leaves me plenty of headroom. And probably this is the best thing of the new car. Wheelbase a little bit longer, cars a little bit longer, but then it doesn't, get too bulky on the exterior. As you can control the angle of the seat here, this is the most upright seating position, and it's really super comfortable in here also for tall people. I have to say, it's maybe one of my favorite cars here at the booth. So I think the sales success will continue. It seems to be improved in so many different respects, and this one here probably my favorite aspect of the vehicle. By the way, here's the seat belt for the middle seat. It's quite funny construct. Well, you have to do it like this. Then you have an armrest right there with cup holders, and it's really interesting that you can change the angle of the rear bench. That's really helpful to relax maybe more or to sit more upright, like this and this. This is the difference. And then you can also put it to the front like this. You see that the lower part goes down a little bit. That is enabling the all-flat loading surface. There's, by the way, also an electric tailgate available. Not the manual here one today. but optional also electric. And what's interesting, this one here is also available now as a 7-seater even on the European market. This one here is the 5-seater today, but you can also get a 7-seater. And very interesting, 2 USB supplies for the rear passengers. Also, I think so many good ideas that are basically simple but just helpful in everyday driving. So what's under the hood here? Well, no hydraulic struts, so I have to search where...